Here I go. So today I have 2 points. Yeah. Just leave those stars. So here, I have 2 points, and I am going to call those 2 points P1 and P2. Now, every point has coordinates associated with them, don't they? Mm-hmm. Every point has an X and a Y. Every point has an X and a Y. And because this is point 1, I'm going to call this X of point 1 and Y of point 1. Same thing up here, because this is point 2, X of point 2 and Y of point 2. Today we're going to do 2 things. We're going to find the distance between those 2 points using the distance formula up here, which I'm pretty sure you've seen before. And then we're going to find the midpoint. Remember, the midpoint here is the point halfway between those 2. So the midpoint has coordinate X and Y, but this is X of the midpoint, Y of the midpoint. Got it? So the first one, find the distance between these 2 points. And if I were you and I was doing these, I would write them down, write down the 2 points, and I would also label them, X1, Y1, X2, Y2, just like we did when we were doing slope. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Then, if I were you, I would also write down the formula. It's X2 minus X1 plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. Once you have it written down, it's easy to just plug the points in. Because it seems like every year when I teach this stuff and when I teach slope, I say, write it down, then plug the stuff in. And I have at least one person come to me, they didn't write anything down, they didn't write the points, they didn't write the formula, they have just the numbers plugged in there. I can't figure out why this is wrong. That grinds my gears. What's X2? -3, take away 4?
Yep.
Squared. And then I have Y2 is take away -6 squared. And if you remember the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, what do you do first? Parentheses. So I have to do -3 and -4 is -7. And I have to do 2 plus 6 is 8. And so D equals square root of -7 squared is 49. -7 times -7. 8 squared, 64. And if you add those together, I think you get square root of 113. I don't think that can be simplified. You don't need to write it as 10.5 or whatever it is. You can just leave it as square root of 113. Got it? That's not hard, right? Right, Priscilla?
Sure.
And same thing, I use the same 2 points. Find the midpoint of the segment that joins them. Well, again, I would ask that you write down the 2 points. And then write down the formula. X of the midpoint equals x1 plus x2. And y of the midpoint, sorry, all over 2. Watch the Wisconsin COVID update live. Now, just plug in. So, what is x1? 4 plus, what is x2? -3 all over 2. What is 4 plus a -3? Isn't that 1? So the x coordinate at the midpoint is 1/2. But then we also have to find the y coordinate at the midpoint. Same thing, we have the formula written down, just plug in. What is y1 plus y2 all over 2? So what does that equal? Oops, I screwed up. This is just -4, right? I screwed up. -4 over 2. What is -4 over 2?
-2.
So our midpoint then, the midpoint, it's 1/2 -2. No, that's not from you, slope's not from you, that's ours. Sorry, we did slope already, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
But I do have one more. Does anybody have questions on the midpoint formula there? You remember that, right?
Yeah.
It's not that hard. But I do have one more. And for this one, I would like you to write this stuff down. I've got my line segment. You know, I've got P1, P2, and halfway, I've got the midpoint. Well, the third kind of problem says, I know that this end is -3, -5, sorry, wrong way, -5, -3. And I know that the midpoint is 3, 5. I want you to find the other endpoint, bless you. Now, remember, the other endpoint, P2, it has coordinates x and y. Remember x2, y2? Well, if you just use the formula, x of the midpoint equals x1 plus x2 over 2. Only this time I know xm. I know what x of the midpoint is. It's right here. That's xm and ym. X of the midpoint, y of the midpoint. And this one is x1 and y1. So just plug in the stuff you know. What is xm now?
Trace.
Trace. What is x1? Plus x2 over 2. How do you solve that? Put a 1 under there is what I would do and cross multiply. Cross multiply. That's like Wonder Woman. Doesn't she do that?
She does.
With those bracelets?
Uh-huh.
That's me.
You are quite the Wonder Man.
Cross multiply. Cross! I got 6 equals -5 plus x2. So add 5, add 5. So what is x2? Looks like 11. And then you have to do the same thing for the y value. So y of the midpoint is y1 plus y2. What's ym? I know it. It's 5. What's y1? I don't know why 2, remember that's what we're looking for, all over 2. And again, just put a 1 under there and cross multiply. So what do we get? 10 equals 1 times that stuff. So now we're gonna add 3 and add 3, and we get y2 equals
13.
13. Woo-hoo. So I don't think that's hard either if you write down the stuff and label it. Right? That's it. That's all I have for you today. That's all I have. That's all I have. Do you have questions? Questions? Are there any questions?
Can I use the bathroom?
Yes, I think that's page 404.
Public facility?
I've got WE. There we
Sound
go.
good for first guest star?
There we go.
That's all.